Hello everybody, and welcome to Toonkind at 12 FPS. My name is Fable, and today I'll be playing Antler, as I have been for a couple of days now, because I've been on very much the brain rot of having FPSs with this man. And with me today is the wonderful, the talented, my good friend.
Hi, I'm Vamp. Today I shall be playing Umi. I almost said Marcel, but no, I'm playing Umi. And yeah, I'm vibing.
Yeah, so this takes place after, obviously, Dream Within a Dream, probably a couple weeks now. It also takes place after the... Oh god, I have to burp. Oof, sorry.
Right.
This also takes place after the FPS Blood in the Water, where Antler uh, meets a fun shark lady named Lucille, who's also friends with Umi slash sibling, water
They,
sibling.
they consider each other theirs, and that's about the scope of their relationship.
There is a close bond there.
Hmm.
Yeah, they are both of them being ocean warlocks. Lucille being someone who is very old and remember Antler wanted to talk to Antler, and so yeah, Antler went and talked to Lucille. That happened. He came back to the castle. Were it not for prestidigitation, he would have been coming back sopping wet. But he just came back vaguely damp. Uh, and that on that he didn't talk with Umi that day. He gave Umi like a pat on the head and then went to go take a shower to get the ocean grime out of his hair. Uh, but I would say a couple days after the fact would be when they talked. Umi, when you're not hanging out with Ruby or anyone anywhere else, your Antler has given you the fountain in his garden as a place to relax and sleep and have water, even though while your leg is still healing.
And they like the fountain. Like there are water lilies on fountain, and I imagine at this point they probably smuggled a few fish in.
Probably, most
Yeah.
likely. But this is one of those days where Antler comes in. It's probably midday. The sun is high, and there's a gentle breeze going through the garden. And Antler walks in, and he is wearing comfy clothes because again he is on forced vacation. So he's just where is it? Where's that picture? There it is. God damn it!
You have a picture of Antler in comfy clothes.
I do.
Oh no.
I do because
Oh, he looks good. I
yeah,
was expecting you to put him in like sweats or something.
I debated it, but I was just like, no. Even when he's in comfy clothes, he is still looking. If in case of emergencies, he can walk out the door like this and still be ready for business.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like that. I can't. He can't help it. I genuinely don't think he can
So
help it.
valid.
But anyways, so he walks into the garden and notices you and gives you a nod as he starts going about gardening.
Hmm?
Do you do anything, Umi?
Probably not. Like they've gotten used to just being quiet and like entertaining themselves while Antler gardens.
Mm. I think I think each time this has happened, it's just been this where Antler gardens and you quietly observe or just amuse yourself. But I don't think either of you have actually full on talked
No.
while hanging out in the garden. But I think maybe about 10 minutes of this passed by before Antler's in the middle of checking over his rose bush. Before he sighs, turns to look at you, Umi, and goes, "All right, if you're all going, you may as well learn something while you're hanging out here. Come over here." And Umi, I think you're at a point where you're not able to run, but you're able to limp with your cast. Your leg has
He,
been getting better.
he, he can like he can actually walk now, and they just kind of like look at Antler and tilt their head.
He just gestures to the spot alongside him. He's kneeling down right now by the bush. Come along now.
Umi climbs out of the fountain and like kind of like half trots, half limps to Antler.
Mm-hmm. He waits patiently. Now then, you've been watching me for some time now. Do you think you could tell me what needs to be done? And he gestures to the bush.
Okay, do I have to? Can I roll history for this?
Yes. Yeah, I'm not saying you, Vamp, actually have to know how to garden, because me, Fable, don't actually know how to garden.
Uh, can I make an argument for survival?
No, it's gonna be history.
Damn it! I was hoping for survival or nature.
Nah, it's gonna be history, because this is, you would know. It's based on what you have watched Antler do.
Oh my god!
And that's a 17. So yeah, Umi, you remember a good bit, and Antler actually would hand you some of the gardening tools to watch you do as you've seen him do multiple times. Does Umi like gardening at all?
You've never tried it.
What
I
do they?
think they will. I think like as they're doing it right now, though, they actually find it kind of relaxing.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of handiwork and I guess having a lot of knowledge about plants helps, but in your case, you just remember what Antler has done and you do that. And Antler will nod approvingly. The fact so you can assume that what you're doing is right.
And like they're just gonna keep doing it.
Yep, and I'm gonna roll insight. That's a 9. God damn it. I see how it is, Dice Parser. Antler's trying to gauge if Umi is enjoying the gardening or not.
This spell is very hard to gauge.
Yeah.
I mean, I could give you advantage considering Umi does have advantage on their insight on Antler.
That's
but
true.
at the same time, like,
if anyone would know how to read a poker face, I think it would be Antler.
True. Oh yeah.
That's 12. That's not much better.
I mean, you think they enjoy it? Question mark.
I think at that point, if he's not able to tell just by looking, I think he's just gonna straight up ask. He's just, I know most of your hobbies likely involve whatever you do in the ocean, but do you think you would enjoy gardening?
Umi kind of looks at Antler, tilts their head in confusion, because Antler's never asked something of this sort to them before, or giving a small nod.
Antler nods as well. Do you want to roll insight on him?
Yeah, sure, inside.
And hey, it's still with advantage, because it's 18. 16, let's go with 18. Antler is nodding and taking more interest in that than you've normally seen him take interest in someone else, which leads you to think, or at least realize that there's something he wants to talk to you about, and he's maybe beating around the bush just a little bit, if only because he is not too certain of how to broach this subject.
And like Umi kind of like goes back to the gardening, because whenever like Antler is ready to break the subject, like he can break it. Like they are just vibing here.
When Antler got back from the day with Lucille, did Umi ask how it went?
Probably not. They probably looked at Antler, saw the Antler was alive, and probably like summarized that it went as well as it could have.
All right. In that case, I think what he's gonna ask is, have you talked to Lucille since last time?
I think they'll shake their head no, and kind of tilt their head like and sign. Lucille's still here.
Yes, it seems that she might be hanging around for a bit of time. I don't think
Not
I don't think she'll ever be coming up here to the castle.
once again. That like yeah, they expect that. Also, now they know that she's here. They can come visit her every once in a while.
Though the talk we had, I imagine you already know, could have obviously gone worse.
Umi nods and kind of like reaches out a hand to like pat like Antler's knee and signs. I'm glad she didn't kill you.
Hmm. I'm sure she wanted to, at least at first, but
Umi,
she seems satisfied with just chucking me into the ocean.
Umi nods. They also summarize that much by the fact that Antler was stabbed when he returned.
Yeah. However, you should know that we did talk about you for a little bit.
He tilts their head. About me staying here to visit Ruby?
Hmm. Not just visiting Ruby, but, well, staying here so long as I live here as well.
They nod. And like and they they do nod at that. Like that's basically confirmation that they're visiting for Antler too.
Hmm. It was an intriguing conversation, to say the least, but she also told me a bit more about your patron.
They tilt their head.
Cannot lie, Umi, from her descriptions, I do have a few more concerns than I did previously.
Roll inside.
Oh dear. I'll just dice parser isn't nice to me again. Yeah, this is not one.
Reflecting that one. You have the advantage.
I do have advantage.
You
I
gotta
keep
give it
forgetting. I keep
advantage.
forgetting. Dirty 20.
30-20. Dice Charcer taketh away and Dice Charcer giveth. Um oh, this child's very like hard to read. Like they've been here for how long now and you still have trouble reading them? It
Yeah.
doesn't come as easy to you as it would to like say Ruby. But they actually look kind of mildly unhappy and somewhat defensive. The lines of their shoulders kind of pulled out, and they don't frown. Like their expression still hasn't changed. But their brows furrow a bit, and they stop digging into the soil with like their shovel.
Antler flicks in here and actually like tilts his head just slightly enough to acknowledge the fact that he has seen this reaction, and I am curious as how do I put this? I have told you in the past that I do not care much about you or where you have come from or even your connection to the ocean. That is true. I did not care originally.
A nod.
However, as things have changed, as I am realizing I am changing, I cannot say that I do not care anymore. And if it is all right with you, I would like to ask you about some things concerning the ocean and your connection to it.
I'm gonna roll something. Gonna roll it with advantage because that's a nat fucking one.
What are you rolling?
Okay. I'm rolling wisdom real quick.
Okay. Wisdom save?
No, just straight wisdom.
Okay.
I think it requires save because I was like, aha, Umi's wisdom is a +4. Like, surely that's gonna be fine. No, not even a wisdom save would save like these rolls.
Hmm.
They, gosh, God, I'm thinking for a second about how Umi is going to react to this, because I have, God, I know a bit more about Umi lore that they've told me now, and I'm just like, they rolled really low. That was them. I think they actually put down the shovel and kind of like rock back their heels a little, and they're still staring at you, Antler. But once again, like as they nod, you can also very much tell that they're very like defensive and cagey around you, the way you've never seen them be before. Like they
Yeah.
weren't even like this flighty back um, when you were like actually like actively hostile towards them.
Yeah, and Antler flicks in your at this because yeah, he's not seen them like this before, and on one hand it's concerning, but for other reasons it's also encouraging to some extent to actually
Yeah,
see them in some way emoting.
yeah, and in fairness, this does mean like it's a lot of mental hoops, but this does mean that they whether they realize it or not, they respect his opinion and stuff. It's like you know me well enough that if they actually did not want to listen to you, they would have just stood up and like gone away.
Yeah. I think what does the ocean mean to you, Umi?
Me considers this Stein's home.
Antler nods.
Yeah, that's all you're getting, Antler.
No, no, that's honestly more than enough answer for him to get to get what. Hmm. I do not think it is often that a child would become a warlock of the ocean, not without someone in their life failing them.
They they actually tilt their head and look somewhat confused at that. And they sign well and fail.
Then how did then, if I may ask, how did you come to be? How did you come to see the ocean as home?
Liked it. Liked it very much. Kept trying to swim in it even though couldn't swim very well yet. And then one day and they kinda like shrug here. Then one day I swam and I found out I could breathe underwater. And I kept going back.
Hmm. Did did you have back from where? Did you hear me?
No, you cut
Oh,
out and I
oh,
thought you were pausing for dramatic effect.
I was for a bit, but no. Antler asked, back from where?
And they kind of tilt their head and just sign village.
Hmm. That wasn't home.
They shake their head.
Hmm. And we'll just nod, and I don't think he's gonna press the question about the village anymore, because I mean, Umi, I'm gonna give it to you, Umi. You saw his mindscape. You saw where he was from, and when you were in that mental mental construction of his hometown, there was not a feeling of this being home.
Yeah, and I think Umi will like kind of like tilt their head a bit and sign. Wasn't the same as with you though.
Well, I did not make as much of a connection to the river, so no, not quite the same, but similar. I
They
could.
shake their head. No one, and they sign. No one threw stuff at me.
Well, that is probably for the best.
I'm gonna roll quick.
A what?
Gonna roll. Actually, I'm gonna roll an insight real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's a 21.
That's insight. Antler's nodding, but he. There's still another question that he hasn't quite gotten to.
And Umi kind of like looks at Antler, blinks slowly, and says like, "What else did you want to ask?"
Hmm. Lucille was telling me more about the ocean, the vastness of it, and the like. And how it can be very easy to lose oneself in it.
Hmm. And to that, he shrugs, just straight up like shrugs, and goes back to poking at the soil with their shovel.
Antler visibly frowns when you just shrug. Are you not scared of losing yourself?
They tilt their head to look at Antler, and like in like the sunlight, like in the sunlight, you know how when someone's underwater and like light gets through the water, like fractals of light will play out like in their eyes and over their body and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Or a moment like that happens, and Umi just kind of like goes back to like digging, just like and just they just like hmm, they just sign I'm me.
And who are you, Umi?
They look back at Antler and signs Umi.
And what does that mean to be Umi?
Tilt their head. Signs love the love the ocean, like Kaido, Lucille, Marley. These are a few names like you don't recognize. And Science likes Ruby, and they finally sign likes you. And go back and goes back to digging.
Antler watches Umi for a bit, twitches an ear. I think he's going to. He hesitates a bit. Because again, he's not used to this, but he also can't deny that. He can't deny what's going on in his head or his heart, and. Or at least not anymore, and. He does hesitate, but he will. He will reach over and place a hand on Umi's head.
You do see like Umi's eyes do like the silly cat eyes thing where they dilate.
And Antler has just the slight grin. That's because that is another encouraging sign. And I think he is just gonna start doing what he does with Ruby's hair, and that he will just start carefully weaving his fingers through Umi's hair and getting out any tangles and just fixing it up.
Mm-hmm. And like that one time in in Arundel Ramble game during the mayoral elections where Antler braided Umi's hair. They are surprisingly still when you do this. They've had their hair braided multiple times before. Gestures at Kaido.
Hmm.
And honestly, I'm gonna say this out of character. The main reason why Umi didn't really react when Antler was like there was the risk of losing yourself to it is because like they've had this pack for years, Fable, and since they were very young, like saying that they might lose themselves to it wouldn't really be very effective when like a good majority of their life like this has just been like a huge part of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it's a part of them.
It's funny you should say that because the next thing Antler says as he's just gently and I think actually he uses Mage Hand to pluck Water Lily out of the fountain and bring it over to tuck into their hair. He just, I know that you will be returning to the ocean after your lake is fully healed, which I imagine won't be long now.
They nod.
And I know you will have people to look out for you while you are in the ocean. Which is
They
there's a comfort in that.
they nod again. Slightly more confused, but okay.
I would not ask you to promise, but I do ask you to remember this. You are a part of the ocean. One part. As it is a part of you. But it is only one part of you. Be sure not to lose the rest. Alright?
Roll persuasion.
Oh man. Oh
I'm
no.
sorry. I have to make you
Oh
roll it.
no. Oh, I don't want to look. Dice Parser's been like kind of mean on my first rolls. I don't want to look.
Oh, that's a
Oh.
19.
Oh, it's a 19. Oh my god.
You do. God, are you okay?
No, I'm terrified when it comes to talking to this child.
Why are you terrified? Surely nothing bad will ever happen.
Shut up. And just.
You do see their shoulders do tense when you say that, and that's kind of terrifying because they have their like whole face and body turned away from you, and for a moment you're not sure if like Umi's gonna stand up and leave right then this second. But very slowly, like their shoulders ease back, like into a relaxed position, and they still don't turn towards you, but and they sign. And what if I never come back?
Well, I imagine Ruby would be very sad. And
You?
yes, I think I would end up being concerned as well.
Okay, that's a two. And Umi very slowly signs. Would you make me choose?
Choose who would be a
You can
fool.
roll inside if you like.
21.
21. They you think back on like this whole conversation and you kind of realize that Umi is like Umi is basically asking you if you'd ever make them choose between the sea and land. Like you're basically running under the assumption that they can only have one.
Yeah, and honestly, hearing that, Antler just goes, why can you not have both?
And at that, they relax like completely. Like all the tension just leaks out from them and they just nod.
And Antler just finish it. We'll finish up. Think he'll add a few braids in and adjust where the flower is just to make sure it doesn't fall out.
I'm
And
imagining put that like he put their hair up in a crown braid with the flower.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Umi, you now have a nice little crown braid with the flower tucked behind an ear.
Yeah, and Umi definitely plays with the flower a little.
And I think I don't. Antler has said his piece. That was what Antler had wanted to say. So I think he's gonna move back around to start gardening again, and Umi is welcome. And if Umi wants to join to continue gardening with him, he will not say no.
And Umi's gonna continue garden with him. And kind of like pause in the middle of gardening and go, does this mean I don't have to pay gold to pet your ears anymore?
No, I suppose you do not have to pay gold anymore to pet my ears. If let me guess. If he looks down at Umi, is Umi looking at him?
Yes, but also I am rolling something very quickly.
Okay,
Please be a 2. Please be a 2.
it's a two.
Oh man. You
Nice.
look down at Umi very, very like you look down at Umi and like it was only for an instant. You're not even quite like certain it happened, but I think you might have actually seen them give a little smile.
Gonna.
Before like when you take a closer look, it's already gone and they're just like looking up at you and making grabby hands.
An Antler sighs, but there is the slightest bit of a grin there as he just bows his head forward and accepts his fate.
Umi pets. Umi pets the ears.
They are very they are very soft.
I think like after a few minutes of petting, like Umi finishes up and then kind of looks at the ears critically and then looks at Antler and somewhat dejectedly signs, Athena's feathers are softer.
No, I imagine. I imagine they are. So sorry to disappoint.
They give like a little like huff, like, yeah, how could you, Antler? And before like picking up their shovel again. And then they kind of like perk up and then they look at Antler and they say, did you tell Lucille about the kiwi?
I think that may have. I think that conversation topic might have dodged my mind at the time.
Yeah, Antler internally sweating. Do I have to tell Lucille about the time a mind player invaded my mind and Umi had to go in it to save me?
Hmm.
Yeah.
I imagine next time if she is amiable to talking more, perhaps I will bring it up. In other words, he is actually going to have to tell Lucille about that because he's not sure if Umi properly would have explained it either. So he's just
No, like
that's it.
honestly, like, you can see it in this child. Like they're just like they would have brought Athena down to the docks, held up the fat bird at like Lucille and go kiwi and nothing else.
Yeah, that's yeah. He's gonna get thrown into the water again.
Yeah, they would talk about how they got to pet her, they, how cute Athena is. Lucille, why don't you pet them as well? Don't eat them though.
Antler will attempt to because he also does not want Athena to get eaten or hurt. He will also try and assure Lucille that they are truly polymorphed, so they cannot do any more damage that they had done as a mind flayer.
And look at Umi hugging the kiwi and burying their face in the kiwi's feathers. You can't eat that. You can't hurt that.
Definitely not. Though I think
You can throw Antler in the ocean again, though.
Yeah. Though in that conversation, Antler will also be telling Lucille that Umi smiled. It was for a brief moment, but he saw a smile.
God, and he's gonna have to explain what made them smile.
Oh, he is gonna have to explain it. Oh no, he's suddenly regretting. But for now at least, with Umi and Antler, Umi, I would say after that things are, I guess, softer to some extent. There's still obviously I think a lot of time you still spend with Antler is still in respectable silence because there's just nothing to talk about. But Antler makes it a point to check on your leg and to make sure you haven't been scratching and uh,
I'm gonna roll to see if Louis has been scratching. Anyone, they have not been scratching with
good.
very good effort.
Okay, good.
I imagine, like, at this point, the cast probably does have doodles and stuff on it because of, like, Ruby.
Probably does. Uh, Tell you what though, for positive reinforcement for not scratching the cast, Antler will. God, I'm trying to think of what would be a good like treat to give. To give Umi.
God, I'm trying to think of it too, and like, I mean, petting ears, petting the kiwi, petting, I don't know, like literally like petting, yeah, petting animals, bringing fish. Actually, that's a good suggestion
Yeah,
from the
because I was thinking
from
fish.
the gallery. Like, the underground river in Rundle Castle probably has like nothing in it aside from love.
Yeah. Antler discovers that one time and is just like, all right, I will just go and get a few fish and that'll be fine. Oh my god. Ah, right, love, you're in here. Never mind. And he's gonna go outside and go to the outside portion of the river to get fish.
Yeah, cause yeah, I doubt there would any fish would live with love and Umi there.
They wouldn't survive long if they
They
did.
would.
They'd get
But
eaten pretty quick.
yeah, but the fountain is like off limits. There's already goldfish there. Like Antler, as you go to put fish in, you realize there are already goldfish there.
Huh.
You just know this child smuggled the goldfish in when you were like unconscious.
Yeah. Now Antler is concerned about putting other fish with the goldfish because he knows the goldfish, once it gets bigger, will eat them. Given the opportunity. Because goldfish are an invasive species, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, maybe you could maybe you could dig out an actual pond in your garden.
I guess that's what he's doing. I think what he does is that he like takes out his staff and it's a fun thing that he's able to actually oh, I can finally use this with the staff finally, is that the horns they stretch out and they melt together to make a shovel.
Oh my god. My god.
Yeah.
Antler, like looking at the shovel. How hard can it be to pond?
What should I roll to do that?
I don't know.
Just strength or dex? It's a d20 either way.
I think yeah, either strength or dex.
Nah, it's a physical it's a much more physical activity than just simple gardening does. So you know what? D20. That's a 12.
Oh god.
I'd say he gets it done. It just takes him longer because he's an old man that needs to take breaks.
Yeah, and of course it does not cross Antler's mind that he could, ask for help from the little corner people.
Does not occur. No, you have to understand. Aside, like, only people he lets in back here are allowed in the garden.
Yeah, that would work too.
Because you have to go through his study to get into it. And he doesn't let, and unless he invites you into the study, you're not allowed in there.
That's fair.
This is not even for privacy reasons anymore. It's fucking pragmatic because he has a potion making. Because he literally has a potion making set in the corner and a lot of pre-made potions that he does not want certain people to touch.
I heard the kids. I heard the
Sheesh. You
kids.
heard that? He. I was about to say kids, but the kids come in anyway.
And he honestly, like, at this point, he probably trusts Umi enough to know that they're not gonna, like, I don't know, like, put a hand into a cauldron.
Yeah, he trusts Umi enough. It's Ruby that. Well, actually, no. Ruby nowadays he trusts more as well because It's been. She's had to learn, but she's learned and has remembered
And,
not to touch the
and
things he says not to touch because Actually, you know what? I think at some point Antler probably tells Umi about the gardening incident. Eh,
God, you mean the tree?
The tree? No, I'm talking about something else. Actually, you know what? That's actually a great idea because Umi, you've been in this garden long enough. Umi, you've seen the carnivore plants.
Yeah.
They live in the very far corner of the garden in the shade, and they very specifically just have that patch of the garden to themselves. They basically are giant Venus flytraps, and you do not want to be in proximity to them, or they will see you as food. Ruby made this mistake, and Antler had to come and intervene.
Umi just kind of looks at the plant, looks at Antler, and then signs, if they eat anyone that comes near them, how do you take care of them?
Oh, they just eat any wild animal that comes across them. Squirrels, squirrels and birds mostly.
So you take care of them after they've eaten?
Yes, it's only
They
after
not.
it's only after they've eaten that you're able to get close to them.
They not. That is very smart. And Umi does not seem horrified that squirrels or like mice or birds are getting eaten. They're just
Yeah,
like, ah.
that's Antler's aware that children should be he thinks should be more frightened of this stuff, but he's honestly not sure because Ruby likes dead things as well. So
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like, this isn't even like an ocean warlock thing. This is literally even me as
maybe
a kid. I watched like a whole ass TV show where like doctors like dissected a giraffe, and I
yeah,
was like,
same. Honestly, it's
oh,
probably it's probably just a kid thing, isn't it? Or it's probably like a learned thing.
it's like both. Like it's both because they see it so often in the sea, but also it's also because they're a kid.
Yeah, and when you're a kid, you don't have like a full understanding of why that's kind of terrifying to look at. At least for me, I definitely was also a kid that wasn't terrified about it, but then I grew up. But then I got older and saw different content that showed it in a different light. That I was just like, I get it. Okay,
Yeah.
it's
Like
still
as a kid,
fascinating, but also I'm a little unnerved now.
yeah, like as a kid, like I watched like my dad has like once found a praying mantis in my garden eating a butterfly, and I just sat there and watched it. When now I'm older, I would see that and I would just like it's still interesting, but also I would turn around and walk away.
Yeah, yeah, same. We got off track a little bit.
Yeah, but like Umi just like next time like Umi meets with Ruby, they're just like, how come you never told me you nearly got eaten?
Mm-hmm. 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 And that'll be. I really hope Antler's in the room when that conversation happens because God, he was gonna enjoy the hell out of it. Antler's not, and whatever look Ruby shoots his way, he's not. He's not looking. He's oh so innocently just reading this sheet of paper while having some tea. Don't mind him. He just happens to be in the room and maybe has an ear swiveled in your direction so he can hear. Uh, but anyways, I can't think of anything else for this FPS. I feel like that was the talk that Antler wanted to have, and the
It
fact
went
that
well. It could have gone so much worse.
it really could have, but
It could
luckily,
have.
luckily you rolled a two and Umi smiled.
It, it could have. God, Abel, you don't. I don't think you understand. It could have gone so much worse.
Oh no, believe me, that's why I was terrified. That's why when you asked me to roll persuasion, I was very scared. Because I was like, this is either gonna get through to Umi or this is gonna scare them off.
Yeah, because that was a possibility. This whole FPS, I was kind of like biting my nails, praying that you were gonna get good enough rolls, because it could have scared them off.
Luckily, it did not.
It did not. We don't have to imagine what would have happened if Umi got scared off and just. Oh.
But however, after that conversation, though, now that Umi knows Antler's not someone who's going to make them choose either or,
I
Like
think
Umi,
like
you're always gonna have the freedom to come and go from Ruindal. S- save for this current situation just because of your leg, but
I think
Antler is.
like
Oh no, go ahead.
no, I think it's like it's probably something similar to what they're gonna have with like it's gonna be like definitely with Antler and Ruindal, like it's gonna be stronger, but it's something similar to what they have with like Ruby and Kaido and like the Lighthouse Gang, in that they will always return to these places because they know that these places would never like really like ask them to choose one or the other.
No, because you can have both.
E.
Because
And the
that's
thing,
because that's the fun thing about the ocean is that you go deep enough, you hit land.
like,
There's Earth.
it was
It's a case of, at least in my mind and the way Antler sees it, is that the ocean, yes, is it's big and it's vast and it's there's so much unspeakable things that are within it. Not even in a horrifying standpoint, but just that vast unknown. But it's also a case of the ocean is just another part of this world that they live in.
no,
It is a part of the world. It is as connected to the land as the land is connected to it. And there's
yeah,
no it's not a case where you can really divide the two. Choose
yeah.
between either or, especially in Umi's situation where Umi, you were a child that was born on land but you chose your home in the ocean. You are even though you chose the ocean as home, you are still of the land in some parts of you.
Yeah, and honestly, it's interesting that you say that because like the reason why Umi was so like why Umi asked that specifically was because well the thing was Umi was never actually explicitly like forced to choose. They were never like in I wouldn't call their like backstory tragic or angsty in any measures. They weren't mistreated. They were actually like quite beloved in their village. It's like if you've ever like watched or read Wolf Children. If you've ever watched or read Wolf Children and you know about Hannah's relationship to her son, it's like that thing where whether like they loved like she loved him so much she didn't want to lose him, and like even if it was like subconsciously, they kind of like made like her son like feel like he had to choose, like he couldn't have both. And that was
Yeah.
kind of like a similar situation with Umi and their home village, where their home village actually loved them very much. It was just like they didn't know how to handle that, and they were
Yeah.
like kind of understandably scared that Umi would pack up and never come back. But their attempt to like kind of prevent that kind of backfired a little because again, kind of made it feel to Umi like they had to choose one or the other, and when it comes down to it, Umi will always choose the sea.
Yeah. And Antler does not know this part of Umi's backstory, and I have a feeling he's never really going to.
No?
Well, just because even if Umi explained it, there's just and and maybe it'll be up to the dice at that point if Umi ever decides to share that much. Maybe Antler rolls a really good insight or something, but it's also just a case of Antler. Antler does see when he looks at Umi. There, he sees a lot of what he sees that border of when you are so numb to everything, you can make the worst mistakes in your life and become the worst version of yourself, which he did. That's what happened to him, and that's what scares him when he looks at Umi sometimes is that he sees a child that stands on that edge, and
Hmm.
he does not want Umi to fall off that edge because it is a very difficult edge. Actually, honestly, some Antler being honestly the odd one out is that almost no one comes back from that edge when they fall.
Yeah.
Antler's been very lucky to come back from it, and I think maybe at some point he might explain this more in depth to Umi, because Umi is a smart kid
Hmm.
and
I think
wise
like
beyond their years. But yeah,
yeah, I think like Yeah, it's hard for Umi to get the risk of like losing themselves to it because again they've been like this since they were very young. It's hard to tell someone that they might lose themselves to like their hand. Basically, is the it's like trying to tell someone that their hand and heart are like two different people.
Well, that's the thing about how do I put it? It's a case of when it's something that is so close to yourself, it's hard to notice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a thing, and Antler will probably tell this to Umi that it is a thing that can happen before you even realize it. And even by the time you do realize it, you might be at a point where you don't care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. No wonder Antler was so worried when Umi kind of shrunk, huh?
Yep.
But less depressing thoughts aside, the
Yeah.
FPS well.
It went very well.
I went very well. Went as well as it could have.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's still some steps to go for both of them. Both of them, I think, are still.
Yeah.
Umi's a kid. Umi's a kid, and that means that leaves a lot of growth to happen. And Antler is just going, just really starting to actively trying to change himself. So
Yeah. God, I remember when we met in person and we talked about the moment Antler it would kind of like hit Antler about it and like God, I can't believe you're here now.
yeah, yeah, we're fine. We did talk a lot about the characters reaching this point of Antler coming to care about people, and yeah, we're finally here. He cares.
Yeah, and the hardest part is come because opening yourself up to caring means that you're burying yourself to the risk of being hurt.
Yup. And there not a day goes by that it does not scare him. But there's still a bit of pride left of when has fear ever stopped him. So
Yeah.
it'll
He's
scare him.
smiling.
It'll scare him, but he'll still go forward with it. So Umi, expect your hair to get more braids and flowers put in it.
They will like it.
Yep. And Antler will probably not will be able to go sit through a dinner with everyone.
Yes, good. Good, good, good. Also, Abby is telling you
Hmm?
Umi and Ruby with matching braids.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm just imagining like Umi and Ruby do that thing where twins are like, "Oh, look for me. I'm the one with the red flower. Oh no, look at me. I'm the one with pink flowers." Even though they look so
They
different
look
that no
so
one would
different.
need.
Antler
Yeah,
does.
that no one would
Antler does
need
the.
flowers to differentiate.
Antler, I think, would purposely be like, oh no, oh no, sorry, you're Ruby. I was looking for Umi. Sorry, because you look so similar. Let me just Antler would actually make fun of them a little bit for it, but in a nice
My God,
teasing way.
Abby is saying Ruby has alter self.
Oh my god. Well, anyways, hold up. Is there? I'm still recording. Uh, is there anything else we want to talk about, like for these two to talk about, or?
No, but I can end this on a funny mood.
All right.
So like one point, Taylor and Umi and presumably Athena, who Umi is going to be showing off to Lucille, like, look at this fat kiwi kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, going down to the docks, I'm just imagining like one of the dock workers just going up to Antler and just like, so, that your ex, Amy's mom?
Jeremy, I think you know you have crossed the line, but also
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
and also I'm going to throw you into the ocean now. And with his and Antler with magic is gonna throw this dock worker into the ocean.
Worth it.
And I think that is where we're gonna end today's 12 FPS. It was a bit. It was a bit. I think it was a bit more talking about our characters than actual FPS, but we got what we wanted done and got good amount of
It's
character
hard to
talk in
talk
there.
like for this it's hard for Antler and Umi to actually talk, not because they hate each other or anything, just because
They're quiet for the most part,
yeah, like
unless
literally 99.9% of their hangouts are just them doing their own things and vibing in like
yeah.
companionable silence.
Antler's not a guy for small talk.
Yeah, and
I mean,
Umi
he'll
isn't.
engage in it, but he's not one to to start it, and comfortable silence is actually comfortable when it's with Umi. So,
Yeah,
but
and Umi
anyways,
also doesn't really start that much small talk, so like, I
yeah. Well, anyways, thank you all for listening, and we hope to see you next time. And until then, bye.